Hey. So, you're top of the table already. It's like that transfer window paid off after all.
Yeah, it's been a dream start, mate. Those guys you bring in, Higashi, Tanaka, Yanino, really making their mark, especially on the score sheet.
See? He told you they'd fit perfectly in the Gegenpress style. And look at that 5-1 thrashing of Azul Claro. You might just have too much firepower for this league.
Yeah, we definitely showed up big time against both Azul Claro and Fagiano Okayama. That 3-0 win was another statement.
And Machida Selvia. Beating one of the title favorites. Impressive. Especially after all the rotation you've been managing with new faces and getting everyone settled.
It wasn't all smooth though, Jurgen. That loss against Renofo stung. Felt like we had control but let it slip.
Amino hiccup. The Gegenpress demands high intensity, and sometimes, we'll have to pay for the odd off day. But you bounced back perfectly against Shigi, and even handled that early red card.
Exactly, and with Abe and Nakano in form, we're grinding out these results. And the cup win against Nara felt good too, gives the bench players some rhythm.
Yes, I part of the plan. And keep an eye on Nagi Kawatani. He's got the potential to really disrupt defenses in this league. I want to see him really grow this season.
Absolutely. We might be on track for something big this season, Jurgen.
Keep pushing, and let's keep the top spot ours.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 3 of Red Bull KloppBot here on Sean Does FM, currently with Omiya Ardija. I hope you're doing well, and coming up today we look to continue a really good start to the season here in the J2 League, and we're going to take on Ventforet Kofu and Imabari, both those trips away from home, so it might be a bit more of KloppBot's hot spots, but we're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode as well as a quick recap of what happened off the back of yesterday's episode. Then do make sure to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so or really are enjoying the new series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we did play our first couple of games in charge here at Omiya Ardija in yesterday's episode off the back of the first episode, where we made our way through the early stages of the transfer window and did do quite a bit of business. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Hopefully that intro might have caught you guys up on a lot of what's going on off the back of that. So we don't have to spend too long here on this results screen, can get straight into the action sooner rather than later. But those first two games, obviously that win over Makita Zalvia in particular was a big one for us. And since then, it's been pretty good apart from one result there at the start of March. But we backed up those wins yesterday with a 5-1 hammering of Azul Claro Namazu, albeit that's a team predicted to finish bottom of this league this season, having come up from the J3 last season. Backed it up with another impressive win, 3-0 over Fagiano Okayama, but then we suffered our first defeat, our only defeat so far here at the Red Squirrels, a 3-1 loss there away at Renofo Yamaguchi, but not really too sure how we lost this game. Going over to the match stats, we're in the white, less shots on target. I suppose that might be the reason why, but overall stats, that really is a game that we should have been winning. Not too sure what went on in that one. A little bit of a weird result there. Did feel like we got somewhat FM, the scoreline at least. Did feel like it should have been a bit closer than a 2-goal win to the opposition, but thankfully that's been our only slip-up. Maybe the cup game off the back of that, our players' attention might have been focused on that one against the team from the J3 in Nara, but thankfully came back from conceding an early goal there to pick up a 5-1 win that completely with a rotated team. So good work there from our bench players to step up. Now off the back of that, back on track in the J2 with a 2-0 win over Toshigi SC. So it does mean we've picked up 5 wins from our first 6 games in the J2 League, and currently we are on top of that by 2 points over Tokyo Verdy. Imabari are on the same amount of points as are Renofo Yamaguchi and JEF United Chiba, so quite close currently at the top of the table. And just below that, the first team we're going to be taking on in today's episode in Ventforet Kofu. Hopefully can pick up a result there and just make sure they don't close the gap with the game in hand. And that's also the case for Imabari, who are actually in a position where they could finish today's episode on top of the table. That's going to be quite an interesting clash, considering in real life it looks like that's the team who next season will be in J2 alongside the Red Squirrels based on the current table there in J3. But a bit more transfer business has happened as well off the back of yesterday's episode. We did bring in the right winger who was under transfer bid when we were having a look leading into that second game, where of course we did lose Okai for a fair while with a broken ankle. So coming in down near the bottom is Nagi Kawatani. I'll get the Jurgen KloppBot graphic up just over the top at some point during this period here. We do look at his profile, but he comes in with 2 stars current ability and 3.5 stars potential. It actually ended up being a very good transfer with that injury because it does mean Yamada, he can switch to central attacking midfield while Okai is out. But mainly, we've brought the 21-year-old in, who to be fair looks a lot younger than 21 based on that photo, I dare say. But anyway, some good extra squad depth for us. He won't be the backup right winger usually. That would be Yamada. But with that big injury that Okai did suffer in yesterday's episode, he'll probably get a decent amount of game time in the next couple of months, and a good bit of business there for us on a free transfer already. Has made 2 appearances and scored a goal. I'll just check what game he did score that goal, and I dare say it was against Nara in the Cup, and indeed it was a goal that got us all square at the 25-minute mark. And also there was one more signing going back there to the transfer hub, but this was one that was made for our under-18 team, and back 2 of them. But first up, we've got Teruhitu Hayasaka. He's a youngster who actually can play central attacking midfield and has quite a bit of potential. So maybe he's someone we should consider giving some minutes to in those cup games, with lots of potential there, or someone our under-18s manager found. And the other player is in the under-18s, but is someone that we found through the scouting reports that we were getting here. Makarel comes in, actually a 19-year-old, so he's actually in the reserves, not the under-18 team, but still 4-star potential Brazilian with 2 stars current ability, who can play centre-back, and he's quite a tall one as well, at 1.91 metres tall. Do think that's one of our tallest centre-back options that we've signed so far here at Omiya Ardija. So a few more transfers coming in, all of them though on free, so it does mean still got a pretty decent transfer budget going into the last month or so of the transfer window, and still a couple of registration spots that we can fill if we need to before we make our way forward to the next transfer window, which I believe will be in July. So a couple of months coming up without transfer activity, but to be fair, looks like what we did a couple of days ago has set us up nicely for our first season here. Hopefully can go straight up to J1, and then there might be the potential to float around the Red Bull clubs a bit more if some of them are in trouble. But to be fair, would not mind just making sure that these guys do become a solid team in that division, just to make sure that there's no chance of them getting relegated, because then we could be in a bit of bother having to come back here and try and rescue them if the KloppBot does think that we do need to go somewhere else while we are still trying to get these guys established in J1. But before then, need to try and lock down this top spot here in J2. And we're going to start it off here by taking on Ventforet Kofu at the Kofu Stadium in the first game of today's episode. Looks like a team who so far in the save these guys have struggled against, albeit that was probably last season where their team did look a little bit weaker in terms of their key player. It's another old goalkeeper like the one we previously had here in Tasahara, I believe the name was. He was only here for half an episode, so I've already forgot it, but he does look pretty decent there, but is getting on, and also is a little bit injured, so if he starts, that might be something that we can take advantage of in this first game of today's episode. Their captain is Sekaguchi, who plays as a right back come right winger. He looks half decent at 26 years old, and vice captain is Matsumoto, and there he is, a striker who, to be fair, does some decent finishing, quite similar to our striker in Nakanoba. In terms of what they were supposed to be doing in the season preview, these guys were predicted to finish 6th, which is exactly where they are currently. So it could be a team who are capable of beating us here, seeing as this one is away from home, and we were only predicted to finish smack bang in the middle of the J2 League. But our early season form does suggest that we probably can pick up a win against these guys, considering that 3 games ago they only drew with Makita Zalvia. So hopefully we continue our good start to the season here at Omiya Ardija. In terms of the injuries, we do of course have Okai out with that broken ankle for 7 weeks to 3 months. As we mentioned earlier, that means Yamada goes in to the backup and behind Juninho, and also our backup goalkeeper still out with a tight hamstring. But to be fair, we shouldn't be using him anyway in Wakabayashi for these league games. Suzuki though has just come back from that damaged kneecap, which has kept him out for the first couple of games of the season, albeit is only recommended for 45 minutes. We'll bring him back via the bench during the course of today's episode, but thankfully do have a bit more depth now at left back and have just brought in that extra cover with Kawatani at right wing. Quite good timing with that injury to Okai, and hopefully can continue our good start to the season when we do take on Ventforet Kofu. But with this being an away trip, hopefully you guys enjoyed the segment yesterday, because to be honest, I'm recording this before the first episode came out, so I'm not too sure yet. But before we get stuck into the first game of today's episode, let's see what the KloppBot's hotspots are in Kofu. And here we go, first up the KloppBot's found some accommodation for us here in Kofu and he's chosen the Dormian Hotel and Resort. To be fair, there's definitely a bit of the two options he gave us here because it looks like this place has a little bit of a spa thing going on as well as some other stuff. There it is there with that view. It looks quite nice, could be quite handy for some post-match and pre-match recovery here for our boys with these red squirrels. Let's see if much else is down here in terms of what it looks like inside. Indeed, a large public bath with an open-air natural hot spring bath called Shon no Yu. Hopefully I've got that right, almost sounds like my name pronunciation, but indoor and outdoor baths that could be very useful for the football team before we play this game. Hopefully can pick up another win and keep ourselves on top of the league. And there is the local food. No doubt all the Japanese players here these days will love that. Hopefully the foreigners, they won't mind it either. Apparently Japanese and Western buffet, so we should be all good even with the Brazilians and whatnot, but that food looks quite decent. Might have been tofu soup there, and there's a bit of potentially ramen, although I don't know if that's actually ramen. That looks like it might be a bit of a lighter sauce with some wider noodles, but anyway, the food looks decent, the hotel looks decent, certainly a lot roomier than the other option than the KloppBot gave us. And those indoor baths and outdoor baths do look quite handy in terms of the free things he's found for us to do, though. I did ask him to do something fun. I think he's gone back to the first lot of the hotspots he did during yesterday's episode, because these aren't quite as fun as what we did before that game where we took on Makita Salvia. First up, he's sent us to the Shosenkyo Gorge, which is a nice gorge famous for autumn colours. So a little bit of sightseeing, fair play. Some guys might not have seen a cliff before in our team, but to be fair, it's a waterfall and there's not much else going on here. A little bit of a gondola, but really not a lot to do apart from walking and seeing a gorge and waterfall, which I'm not too sure is worth an entire trip to go see it. We'll see what the KloppBot says. Just 30 minutes from Kofu. It offers scenic views, waterfalls and hiking trails. Don't know if we want the boys hiking before a football game, but next up we've got Kofu Castle. To be fair, he's been quite lazy there, the KloppBot, because all these are coming from the same website and they're ranked 1, 2 and 4, but the Kofu Castle, the ruined grounds of the former castle apparently, which is probably why it's a castle. But going down a bit further, here's another view of the inside. It's gardeny. This is all very similar from the first one of these he did during yesterday's episode. We'll just see what the KloppBot had to say about this one. A historical landmark near Kofu Station, so to be fair, it isn't too far away from a train/bullet train stop over there in Kofu, but apparently it's perfect for a leisurely walk, especially during cherry blossom season. So maybe that's a bit more suitable than the gorge where the walks could be a bit more strenuous. And to round things off here for the Kofu hotspots, we have got the Takeda Shrine, which was the number 4 thing there on this website where it's getting all this information from, and it's dedicated to Kofu's most celebrated samurai. So to be fair, this looks like it could be one of the cooler things if they've got knives and stuff and big swords and things that we could look at or even play with. Probably not going to be the case though if it's a shrine, but there's some surviving stone walls. Going down a bit further, a couple of statues. It might be the most interesting of all these things that we have seen so far from the KloppBot. It's 10 minutes away from Kofu Station, so that's not too bad. And just going back there, pretty much what was listed before on the website. So there's the KloppBot's hotspots for Kofu. Not too sure about that place. Honestly, hopefully he comes up with something better. We may take on Imabari in the second game in today's episode, but hopefully we can still pick up a win despite that rather average hotspot list. And here are the team sheets for our first game of today's episode. There are the home team, Ventforet Kofu, and they are going quite defensive with 5 at the back and a couple of midfielders just in front of that with 2 up front. A couple of changes for us. Matigi at centre back. That's because Tabari got suspended last game. A straight red card, thankfully, still picked up a win. Obviously, Minami at left back, but Suzuki is back on the bench. Also, Tanaka in defensive midfield and Osara up front. Got a lot of games at the moment, so some players are needing to be rested on a heavy workload, but hopefully we can continue our good form and stay top of the table. And just shy of the 15-minute mark, first highlight of this game, the home team here trying to make their way out from the back. They try and spread that one out right, but good work there from Minami to get us back on the ball. They're already on a yellow card, so it might be Suzuki getting some game time in the second half. We get that ball out there to Figueiredo, who gets brought down. I think that was from Iraqi, and a chance here from the spot. Let's see who's taking this one. It looks like it might be Fabian Gonzalez. Indeed it is. He goes straight down the middle. The goalkeeper almost still saved that one, but thankfully Gonzalez will put that one away. It's a bit of a gift early on here in this trip to Kofu, but thankfully we make the most of it, and 15 minutes in from the spot, we take a 1-0 lead. Albeit only a few minutes on from that opening goal, we are now down the other end here, thrown in the final third for Ventforet Kofu, albeit they play that ball back there a little bit, but then go back inside of the final third. Let's just see what they get up to here through Matsumoto. That ball nearly gets cut out there, but Iraqi does get them back on the attack. The player who gave that penalty away only a few minutes ago. Now back there to Matsumoto. Then Munchie, he will find there Hasegawa, and it's an absolute stunner from him from just outside the box. No touch needed, just rockets that one at the first attempt into the top right corner, and that is a very good equaliser, probably so far. Goal of the save here in this one, but unfortunately it's gone against us. The player there just gets caught out there by Hasegawa, and to be fair, really good finish to lock it up at 1-1, and only a few minutes later, another highlight starts here. It's all action off the back of the first 15 minutes where the teams might have been just feeling each other out. But now we've got Angelotti, who is cutting inside Tanaka. He finds him before going out to Figueiredo, who earned us that penalty before Fabian Gonzalez makes his way a little bit down the right-hand side. Tanaka plays it in for Dimas, the captain these days, but unfortunately that shot's just wide. Still locked up at 1-1 halfway through the first half. And just about to make our way into the last 10 minutes here of the first half, and there's a chance actually here for the home team to take the lead through Hasegawa again, and that one also goes close, but that time it comes off the woodwork. So to be fair, he can pick out those top bins. Thankfully that time, actually, a good save from Higashi. Didn't think he'd touch on that one, but must have helped it. Onto the post again, they find Hasegawa. Maybe that's someone we need to tightly mark in the second half, because he's looking quite dangerous here so far. Got the equaliser, but to be fair, stats-wise, we have been on top, albeit the XG helped out massively by the penalty, of course, but it looks like going to be going to the sheds here, locked up at 1-1. Probably a little bit harsh on us, especially because it looks like during the latter stages of that half have got on top of the opposition, but unfortunately, really good strike there from Hasegawa does cancel out the penalty to Fabian Gonzalez. Now, just looking here at player ratings, most people out there going decently apart from Osawa, so I think here going to need to bring on our star striker in Nakano at halftime. And obviously, we'll take off the Minami on a yellow card. To be fair, quite knackered as well, with this being one of Suzuki's first games back from that injury, so we'll give him some game time to build that fitness back up. Hopefully, though, can kick on and grab a winner, but to be fair, not going too badly. 1-1 away from home against Ventforet Kofu. And it hasn't taken long at all here for the first highlight of the second half, just over 5 minutes in here, and they are on the ball, the home team. So hopefully we can break this up and maybe hit them on the counter-attack, but so far they keep it nicely in that triangle. And Hasegawa, who we told our guys to mark tightly at halftime, just gets a ton of space there, thankfully. Again, the woodwork comes to our rescue, but Hasegawa, looking very dangerous, nearly gives them the lead again. Thankfully, still locked up at 1-1. And a few minutes on from that chance for Hasegawa to take the lead, yet again for Ventforet Kofu. Actually going to take off here some of our better players struggling out there today on some poor ratings. Angelotti and Yanino going fairly, so we're going to bring on here Yamazaki and Fukuyamada, but this time in central attacking midfield. Let's see if that just helps us in terms of our attack, because currently looks like might be slightly on the back foot. Still 1-1 though. And only a few minutes off the back of those previous subs, now we're going to make our last one, because Fabian Gonzalez, the goal scorer, has dropped down to a red heart. Clearly so far been our best player in this game alongside Figueiredo, who did earn the penalty. No right wing cover though left on the bench, but Tanaka can play central attacking midfield. Yamada right wing. So if we put Gonzalez back to DM, we can replace him with Hisashi Yahashi, who is usually our first choice defensive midfielder. So to be fair, that looks like a decent sub for our final one of this game. 20 minutes left, still 1-1. And right after making those final subs, just about to encourage our guys here, but a highlight does start a thrown inside of the final third. Figueiredo gets that one back. The goalkeeper comes out to get it, doesn't get there, and Seiya Nakano will head that one home. And we might escape here with a 2-1 win if we can hold on for the remaining 20 or so minutes left of this game. But that's some nice work from us there. Yamada gives that ball back to Figueiredo. To be fair, it wasn't the most complicated routine there from that front, but Shibara in goal there looked like he was going to come out and claim that one, just bailed out, but by that stage Nakano could hit it home. Thankfully, he just stayed on side, albeit to be fair, looked a bit more comfortable than those lines make out, but thankfully we grab a goal to put us in front with only 15 minutes left. And just about to sneak our way into the last 5 minutes of this game, still holding on to our 2-1 lead. So I think it's now time for us here to start time wasting just a little bit. I haven't actually asked the KloppBot what we should do in terms of time wasting. Let's just say that he trusts us in terms of this based on what we were doing back in the New Zealand Builder Nation save. We just make sure we're more disciplined, drop the tempo, be a bit time wasty, and also drop our defensive line from high to standard as well as we make our way into 3 minutes of added time. Second half actually got well on top of the home team in terms of stats and thankfully made it count through that late header there to Nakano. A couple of our bench players there impacting things nicely. Figueiredo, I would have thought, would have got man of the match for that game, earning the penalty and the assist for the winner, but apparently it's Gonzalez for the penalty he put away. Not too sure about that one. Also Nakano, a good rating for that goal that he picked up. Thankfully, he's still here because he's doing a good job up front. We know Sawa is not firing, but thankfully, just do enough there to pick up 3 points in Kofu. As a quick look there, Hasegawa, who was quite threatening, especially in the first half and early stages of the second. But the big 3 points there to keep us top of the table before we take on Imabari. So a good albeit narrow win there against Ventforet Kofu in the first game of today's episode. Over there on the left-hand side, you can see all the other results from that match day. To be fair, most teams who are behind us did pick up wins. The only team who really didn't was Tokyo Verdy, so they slipped down to third and behind JEF United Chiba, who to be fair have jumped up that table quite a bit with a win over Tochigi. But next up for us, we take on Imabari. Now in real life, this is a clash between the first and second teams currently in J3 in real life. So to be fair, at this time next season, this could definitely be a game taking place in the J2. Not too sure though about these positions, but to be fair, with the Red Bull money, maybe it's not that out of the realms of possibility that the Red Squirrels could be up there in J2. But Imabari are only 5 points behind and do have 2 games in hand. Not too sure how that's happened this early in the season. I wouldn't mind their schedule because then maybe we'd have a few less injuries. But these guys, if they pick up just a point against us, they'll go above some pretty good teams here like Tokyo Verdy. So we'll see how we get on so far. They've played 5 games, only dropped points in their first one, and since then have beaten all the other teams they've played. To be fair, don't think any of those teams are too high up the table, apart from Makita Zalvia, who it looks like actually struggling a little bit more than you expect for a team who are in J1 in real life. But in terms of the players to watch in their team, they've got Vinicius Araujo, a 32-year-old from Brazil, who does play in the attacking area of the field. 5-star current ability and potential. He looks quite well rounded for this level, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on one of their star foreigners. Also, looks like they've got another quite good goalkeeper there in Genta Ito. To be fair, that didn't pay off for the opposition before with that winning goal that we scored, but to be fair, not too sure if that was actually their first choice goalkeeper, seeing as he was injured going into that game. But this guy does look a little bit better and a bit younger as well, and isn't injured, so might need to be our best here to beat Ito in goal there for Imabari. And the vice captain is Hashisuka, who is a right back come right winger. Actually covers both sides of the field, albeit based on the star rating, he doesn't look too great. So hopefully we can pick up a win here over a team who in real life, Omiya Ardija, are certainly doing a lot better than. But again, we're away from home going to this game, and again have a pretty similar list of injuries. So before we get stuck into the second game of today's episode, hopefully this time the KloppBot finds a few more fun hotspots. And here are the KloppBot's hotspots here for Matsuyama, which is the city in which Imabari do play. Now, we don't even need to look at the hotel website because it's exactly the same place as what the KloppBot recommended earlier, just in a different city. So again, we're going to a Dormy Inn with all those fancy little hot spring baths, saunas and whatnot. And to be fair, that kind of makes one of his recommendations maybe a bit more void. But to be fair, it is apparently Japan's oldest hot spring, the Dogo Onsen. To be fair, can never have too many hot springs, especially on a quick backup with a football team. Here's the website. There's a wee bit going on here in terms of what I'm trying to work out based on the images that we are seeing, but that looks like it might be an entrance. You can kind of move your mouse around and move around the people and the cloud/theme that might be considering that this is a hot spring place. But this is the oldest one in Japan, so no doubt it will be quite nice and will be quite historical. Could be quite nice for the cultured men among our team here at the Red Squirrels. You can see there a bunch of stuff about bathing manners. Maybe I need to check that out before I go, but indeed this looks like quite a big attraction there in Matsuyama, the first public bathhouse that there was in Japan back in 1994, so no doubt there's been a lot more built since then, because I'm pretty sure that's quite a big thing in some other parts of the world as well. There's even a live camera. We should probably get off that just so we don't get in trouble, but there was the website. Honestly, didn't see too much that I was hoping to see there. Apparently also it's inspired some movies and whatnot. We'll go back here, what the KloppBot says. It inspired the bathhouse in Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away. If you've watched that, there you go, and offers a unique chance to experience traditional Japanese bathing culture. Relaxing in these historic waters is a perfect way to unwind. So to be fair, not the worst suggestions there. Just get some energy back there for the boys off the back of that game a couple of days ago. But as well as that, we've got another castle and a temple. First up, the Matsuyama Castle, one of Japan's original, and offers stunning panoramic views of the city and surrounding mountains from its location on Mount Katsuyama. You can reach the castle by chairlift or on foot, so to be fair, we don't even need to walk that much to get there. And there's what it looks like. To be fair, those cherry blossoms do look quite good. Again, the KloppBot does seem to quite like this website. Number 2 of the 5 most recommended things. No doubt number 1 might be the onsen, but there's another view of it. It does look quite nice, to be fair, so we don't mind that. And there is the chairlift slash gondola, we'd call it here in New Zealand. And there's gardens to walk around as well. To be fair, I think that was a bit better than what we saw before in Kofu. And to round things off, it's the Ishiteji Temple. Hopefully I've got that pronunciation right, but it's a fascinating and slightly eccentric temple, a significant stop on the Shikoku pilgrimage, known for its mysterious mantra cave and historic structures. It offers a spiritual and unique exploration for visitors interested in Japanese Buddhism. Not too sure if many of our players are into that, but if they are, this will be right up their alley. There's what it looks like. Number 3, so we're getting the KloppBot. Isn't really doing a lot of research, it feels like. Just loves this website and seeing what the hotspots are based on this. I was hoping he might throw in the odd arcade or something like he did for that second hotspot segment we did in yesterday's episode before we took on Makita Zalvia, seeing as we actually played quite well before that game and picked up our most comfortable result so far in terms of scoreline in a game on camera. But you can see there, it's very cultured. Hopefully our guys, they'll enjoy that. There are the hotspots for the KloppBot in Matsuyama. Now let's go and hopefully pick up another win over Imabari. And here are the team sheets for the second game of today's episode. Imabari, again the away team here, are in the blue. These guys going though with a 4-4-2, which to be fair has been quite a popular formation here in the J2 so far. The changes to our regular first 11 are both at wingback. Okamoto comes in for Figueiredo, a little bit tight off back of that good performance before in Kofu, and still Minami at left back with Suzuki, still making his way back a little bit from injury. But apart from that, it's a first choice 11. Hopefully can pick up another win and keep hold of that top spot. And pretty much being on halfway through the first half, we get the first highlight here of this game so far. Actually, the home team have been slightly on top of us here based on stats. We do some good work here from the free kick. Juninho makes his way onto the edge of the box, takes on the shot there. He probably could have actually gone a touch or two further, but unfortunately, that one straight at Edo, and it's a pretty easy save for him. Apparently, he's picked up a little niggle, so we'll see how that's going at halftime. Unfortunately, we give the ball away there to Marcus Vinicius. Surely that's not the same player that we signed for Kashmir Tech in our New Zealand build nation. Actually makes his way inside the box quite deep there, but thankfully Higashi comes up with a save. I need to check this guy out. It's a completely different player. Thankfully, that would have weirded me out considering we signed him in about 2030 in our last save, and it's 2024/25 in this one, but thankfully it's a different player. But to be fair, he's gone quite close there to grabbing the opener for Imabari off the back of a good chance to Juninho. But now we're quite close to halftime. As you can see, quite an even game with slightly more shots, but both teams only the way on target that you've just seen from that highlight about halfway through the first half. And that will do it so far. Pretty even, but not up to a lot. In the end, actually got a few more shots off late there in the first half, but locked up at 0-0. And Holody out there on a 6.4. So to be fair, not having the best episode today is our Brazilian left winger. So I think here we take him off again for Yamazaki. But apart from that, everyone else out there is going okay. We'll save our other 4 subs up for the second half, but hopefully kick on and pick up 3 points again, because Imabari do have those games in hand. Really want to make sure they get nothing out of this one. And hopefully getting a bit more action here in the second half. Early free kick there to Nakanomini, goes close there looking for the top right corner, but unfortunately just on the wrong side of the woodwork. Still 0-0. And just coming to the hour mark now in this game, and Evan Dimas has dropped down to a red card, and a couple of other players out there actually struggling on some average ranks. So Dimas will come off for Abe, will take off Ohashi on a 6.4 for Tanaka, and Tabira coming back from suspension, also going fairly. So Matiki can come on and we'll switch him with Urakami, seeing as he probably is a bit better suited to the right-hand side, also being able to play right back. Also just seeing there that Juninho and Gonzalez not having the best games, but we'll leave them out there for now. That might be what we do with our final sub. But off the back of those changes, there is a highlight hero thrown close enough to the halfway mark, but unfortunately a poor pass. And again, Marcus Vinicius here gets on the attack for Imabari. Good work there though from Urakami. Win that ball back for us, hoofs it clear, but they do get back on the ball there and quite quickly get it back up there to Takagashi. Vinicius there tries to play a ball into the mix, we cut it out, but then not the best clearance. So they have the ball here inside the final third, ball over the top there for Marcus Vinicius, who squares it for Wesley Tanke, who will put that one away. Marcus Vinicius, he's proven to be a real thorn in our side here in this game, was quite close to scoring the opener on the counter-attack in the first half and was involved quite heavily in this highlight. Unfortunately, just on the wrong side there of, I think that's Minami, indeed it is, and squares it nicely for Tanke, who puts it away. We go 1-0 down on the hour mark. And very short off the back of that opening goal, we are now down the other end here for a throw-in close enough to inside the final third. Minami got that ball in there, and now Yamazaki, rather fortunately, gets it back after a tug on Abe. Thankfully, though, squares it nicely for Juninho, who puts that one away. I was actually thinking about taking him off on a 6.5, but he did go close in the first half to opening the scoring, but this time he puts that one away at the near post there, and thankfully not behind for too long. We make it 1-1. And it looks like this game now is kicking into life a few minutes off the back of that equaliser. There is a throw, and it is for Imabari, but it is inside of their own half, so hopefully can put some pressure on them here and win this ball back. And indeed, Tanaka does quite well there, and we find Gonzalez on that right-hand side, cuts in with his left foot, tries to curve that one in at the near post, but unfortunately, I think Ito had that one covered and didn't even bother to make a save. And now we're about to make our way the last 20 minutes of this game, and Gonzalez, he drops down to a red Hatsumata. Can come off, to be fair, have now taken off a few of our key attacking threats for the late stages of this game, but hopefully can still find a winner with 15 minutes left. And in fact, a highlight does start here, a throw for Imabari, but thankfully win that ball back. A lovely one over the top there from Juninho, who picks out Nakano, who again might have picked up a winner in this one. It was a gorgeous ball that though from Juninho off the back of getting us level about 15 minutes ago. Yamazaki got that one back for us, a couple of touches. He cuts inside, and that's a wonderful pass there with his right foot. Nakano does get closed down there by a defender and the goalkeeper, but thankfully still puts it past him, and we're 2-1 in front late. And just about to sneak our way into the last 10 minutes of this game. A throw for us here again inside of the opposition half. A long range effort there from Tanaka and almost pulls it off. That time he gets denied from the woodwork, but a really good chance there for us to put that game to bed. To be fair, both our defensive midfielders off the bench going a bit better than the ones who were previously on there. A free kick for Imabari, but thankfully that one was going wide, and even then Higashi does save it. Hopefully we can actually keep the ball off of this clearance, otherwise that might be a bit of a waste. He pumps this one deep. Let's see what happens. Unfortunately, Imabari, uncontested, do get that ball back, albeit that's a poor pass out there. Okamoto gets us back on the attack inside of their half. Yamada, he cuts inside with some fresh legs, takes on the shot there, but quite similar to Juninho in the first half. That one is straight at Ida, who tips that one over the bar. Now Okamoto is back on the ball here with a corner. They're trying to tell us here to press Vinicius. Be fair, we're already tightly marking him, so hopefully that will work late on in this game. Nakano looking for a double, but unfortunately just heads that one over the top right corner. Still 2-1, and now going to try some time-wasting stuff yet again, just to make sure that hopefully we close out this game just like we did in the previous one against Ventforet Kofu. So the exact same things here with only 5 minutes left, and again with a 2-1 lead. Let's see if it helps us out here. It might not, because before I think those can even go through, there's a throw in here for the opposition. They put that one far post there looking for Vinicius, but thankfully Higashi comes out and just gets to that one. Fingertip effort from him there. Now we try and make our way out from the back. Urakami up to RK. Lovely header down there from Yamada. Not sure who it found, but unfortunately on the ball here, Imabari. It's a nice one over the top there for Wesley Tanke, who puts it away, bottom right corner, but thankfully he was offside, so a bit of a highlight there to scare us. And now a free kick for Yamada, and quite a nice spot this one, especially with his left foot. Let's see if we can put this game to bed here and put this one away in the top left corner. Yes, he can, beats Ito, and that one should put this game to bed with now only 4 minutes left of added time. Yamada with a wonderful free kick. Good bench impact from him coming on for Fabian Gonzalez, and that is a really nice free kick there, to be fair. Was from a pretty much perfect position for a left footer there, just outside of the box. And we get through 4 minutes of added time and continue a really good start to life here at the Red Squirrels and Omiya Ardija. That's back-to-back wins in today's episode, and that makes sure we waste one of Imabari's games in hand on us there by handing them a 3-1 defeat. So another 2 good wins for us there away from home during the course of today's episode, and what that does for the J2 League table is currently we are still 2 points clear of JEF United Chiba, now though 3 points further back to Tokyo Verdy and Imabari, as well as Tokushima Vortiz. They're down the table a bit further, and those games in hand now not quite as scary looking as they were before we just took them on and handed them that defeat. In terms of how our players are getting on in the league, we've got Nakano there, who's second in the top goal scorer. To be fair though, not much else happening with our guys who made the goalkeeper that we're going to try and sign as a backup is the 3rd most clean sheets, which is a bit annoying, but thankfully Nakano doing quite well with the goals, also picking up a few yellow cards there for our 4th choice centre back in Nuki. And a quick look over at the squad and we'll just see how these guys are getting on, who's been the star performer so far here in this good opening stretch that we have had. In behind Nakano, also getting quite a few goals out of Abe, which is a bit surprising. Our box-to-box midfield backup in behind Dimmer. So Sawa's picked up 4, Nino Angelotti with 3. So we're getting goals from quite a few places so far here at Omiya Ardija. And assist-wise, the midfielders are doing a good job in Tanaka Angelotti, Nino Yamazaki Minami, as well as Gonzalez. So I think so far, this 4-2-3-1 that we're using from the KloppBot is working nicely. Obviously it is, because we're on top and doing a pretty blimmin' good job. But if you enjoyed today's episode, there are 2 more games away from home and 2 more wins with the Red Squirrels, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow, and as long as the cup doesn't mess up our schedule, because I think it could, seeing as we definitely should be making our way through to the second round with a 5-1 lead over Nara. But we do have 2 pretty big games coming up currently in the month of April. Sagan Tosu and Tokyo Verdy. Both of those are at home, but they were the teams expected to be the favourites for this division this season. So I think that's what we're going to plan to come back for in tomorrow's episode. Hopefully a cup game doesn't stuff it up, and if it does, we might take on a decent team from J1 or even one of those 2 teams in that competition instead. But until tomorrow, for probably our toughest test so far, we hopefully will take on Sagan Tosu and Tokyo Verdy. Thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.